This is attempt number 4. My screen seems to be crashing. Not sure what's going on. Let's try this again. I'm doing problem 17. This is on this is page 3 of 4 on the handout you were given. Alright, so I'm solving this analytically. Analytically means I'm going to do some algebra here. So the first thing you're going to do is substitute 0 in. So it's square root of 6 minus square root of 6 is 0. Plug 0 in the denominator. So what I have is 0 over 0. This is an indeterminate form. Okay, this is an indeterminate form. So that means I'm going to do some kind of algebra to make it where I can just plug it in. Alright, so what I'm going to do is rationalize the numerator. To rationalize the numerator, I am going to multiply by the conjugate. And I'm going to multiply the numerator and denominator by the conjugate. When I do that, I get... So when you multiply a binomial, this is a binomial, square root of x plus 6 is considered one thing, square root of 6 is something else, two separate things, separated by a minus, change a sign, plus sign, now I'm going to multiply that out. So that becomes x plus 6 minus 6 over, and I don't multiply out the denominator. Alright, so what happens there? So I'm going to do some simplifying. 6 minus 6 is 0. So that's x over x square root of x plus 6. Oops. That's a 6. Close parentheses there. Alright, so that's x times, well, it's the same thing. All I did was copy the denominator. Now the x is reduced. So that's 1 over square root of x plus 6 plus the square root of 6. Alright, so the most common question is, well, how do you know when to stop? Well, once you got rid of something, right? At the beginning, we had all this stuff up here. Now the numerator is only 1. Now try to plug in the number. If I plug in 0, I have 1 in the numerator, and I got square root of 6 plus square root of 6 in the denominator. So that is perfectly okay, 2 root 6. And that's the answer to number 17. All right, now let's try number 18. Same idea. I'm going to plug in the number, negative 5. So 4 minus negative 5 is 9. Square root of 9 is 3. 3 minus 3 is 0. Negative 5 plus 5 is 0. So again, I have the form 0 over 0. That's an indeterminate form. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing I did in number 17, multiply by the conjugate. Oh, by the way, you might have square root of 3 on your paper. Fix that to 3, okay? All right, so now I multiply this out. That's going to give me 4 minus x minus 9 over x plus 5. Okay, so the numerator, I do multiply it out, but the denominator, I never multiply it out. It's because I am expecting something to cancel from the numerator. So what I have here, I have 4 minus x minus 9. That's going to simplify to negative x minus 5. Negative x minus 5. Where am I? All right. Now, can you see that negative x minus 5 is the exact opposite of that? So when I reduce those two, all I'm left is with a negative 1 in the numerator. Okay, now plug in a negative 5. Plug in a negative 5, that's 4 plus 5 is 9. So square root of 9 is 3. So that's going to give me negative 1/6. All right, going on to number 19. All right, so for numbers 17 and 18, that was multiplying by the conjugate. Numbers 15 and 16, we factored it first and then reduced it and then plugged it in. So when we have number 19, what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the fraction. All right, so first let's plug it in. If I plug in 3, I get 1/4 minus 1/4, which is 0, and 3 minus 3 is 0. So again, I have the 0 over 0 form. All right, what I'm going to do now is multiply numerator, this numerator, and this denominator by the common denominator of the numerator. So that's going to be 4 times x plus 1 is the common denominator of the numerator. When I multiply 1 over x plus 1 times 4 times x plus 1, that turns into 4. And when I multiply 4 times x plus 1 times 1/4, that turns into x plus 1. Again, I am not multiplying out the denominator. Oops. Okay. All right, so let's clean that up. That's going to be 4. It's going to be 4 minus x minus 1, x minus 3, 4, and x plus 1. So I haven't multiplied out the denominator. The numerator becomes 4 minus 1 is 3, so it's negative x minus 3 over x. Something has gone awry. Oh, that's a plus 3, not a minus 3. All right. Okay. All right. So can you tell that negative x plus 3 and x minus 3 are opposite of each other? So it's kind of like the last example. So I'm going to get x approaches 3, so that's going to be a negative 1. So the negative 1 is left over after you reduce these two. Okay? So I'm left with 4 times x plus 1 in the denominator. Now I can plug in the 3. If I plug in 3, it's going to be 4 times 4 in the denominator. So it's negative 1/16. All right. Last example, number 20. Again, I'm going to multiply by the common denominator of the numerator. So it's multiplied by 5 times x plus 1. So when I do that multiplication, the x plus 1's reduced, and I'm left with 5x. And here, when I multiply by 5 times x plus 1 with the second fraction, that's going to be 4 times x plus 1. Right, the 5's reduced. And again, I'm not multiplying out the denominator. I'm just going to rewrite it. Okay, there's not enough room here, so I'm going to go sideways here, or downward anyway. Simplify that, so it's 5x minus 4x, which is x. Negative 4 times 1 is negative 4. And looky there, that's going to cancel. Right, so the x minus 4 is canceled. I got 1 over 5 times x plus 1. And this time, plug in the 4. And that's going to be 5, so 1 over 5 times 5, so it's 1 over 25. Okay, so notice I write the symbol limit all the way until I can successfully plug in my approaching number. Right? Once I can plug it in, I don't write that symbol anymore. All right, so that's the problems 18 through 20. That's what you missed on Wednesday.